WrestleMania VII had one of the worst main events I've ever seen, but then it also had my favorite match so far in this series. Hello everyone and welcome to the WrestleMania series. I've been a WWE fan ever since 2015 and I've never actually gone back to watch some of the old tapes. I never seen every single WrestleMania. So in this series we go through every single WrestleMania and now we are at number 7, so let's get into it. Starting us off, we have the Rockers versus the Barbarian and Haku, and Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty are so in sync. It's actually kind of insane. And they would absolutely win this match. Dropkick into a crossbody. Shawn Michaels makes the pin. Dino Bravo versus Kenny Von Erich would be our next match. And this is when I realized that Bobby Heenan is the commentator for this event in place of Jesse the Body Ventura. However, there are 3 matches, one of which we've already talked about, where the brain is kind of necessary to be in the ring. So there are some guest appearances on commentary every now and then. And at first I thought, oh man, this is gonna be so good. I'm really getting tired of Jesse the Body Ventura, but watching all this, I kind of started to miss him. I don't know. It's got a charm to it, no matter how crass and sometimes wild he can get. But yeah, this wouldn't be a long match. Kenny Von Erich would win with a spinning tornado. Davey Boy Smith versus the Warlord would be our next match, and we haven't had a match built around the full Nelson in at least a couple WrestleManias, so it's fun to see it again, I guess. Although I do hate these moves that clearly don't necessarily hurt, and also they just waste a lot of time, but hey, every now and then you would get a WrestleMania match that's built around the full Nelson. However, the full Nelson wouldn't win this match. It would actually be a power slam by Davey Boy Smith. The Nasty Boys would give an interview before their match, and their gimmick is being nasty, I guess, or gross, something like that. I don't really get it. Also, what the fuck is wrong with the anvil?
Tag Team Championship bout is at hand.
Yeah, baby!
But yeah, the match between the Nasty Boys and the Hart Foundation would be a pretty good match. Whenever I see Bret Hart in the ring, you know it's going to be good. And the Nasty Boys would actually win the Tag Team Championships after some buffoonery here and there. Rick Martel versus Jake the Snake Roberts would be our next match, and this was a blindfold match. Possibly the worst stipulation in all of professional wrestling. Also, when the referees were putting on their blindfolds, I guess, like the big bags over their head, you could clearly see that they are see-through, so yeah, this just looked really bad. Jake the Snake Roberts would somehow find Rick Martel and deliver the DDT. As you can imagine, it was a really bad match. One thing I realized about this WrestleMania, however, is that they are really trying to build storylines going into WrestleMania, which I know it might sound funny to a modern WWE fan, but back in the day, watching all these previous WrestleManias, a lot of matches don't have any build to them. They just happen. And in these WrestleMania, I guess, or maybe even the previous one to some degree, you could clearly see that at least 60 to 70% of matches have some kind of build going into the match. So yeah, it's pretty fun. It's not just random matches here and there. And now welcome to a new segment on this series, which we would call Streak Watch, because today is the day that the Undertaker makes his WrestleMania debut against Jimmy Superfly Snuka. And man, the Undertaker had so much aura. It's actually insane just watching him walking to the ring. All of these kids just kind of shitting in themselves. It's so insane. Also, Paul Bearer played his role perfectly. Taker would just dominate this match and he would win with a tombstone to put away the Superfly. Really interesting, really good match. First in a legacy that will be carved throughout decades. Then we would have my favorite match of this event, which is career versus career match between the Ultimate Warrior and Macho King. This match told its story perfectly. It's kind of insane how perfectly he told it. It wasn't a complicated story. It's Ultimate Warrior being bigger, faster, stronger, more powerful, and younger than Randy Savage, and no matter what underhanded tactics Randy Savage does, it doesn't matter. It's a really simple story. It's not original. It's nothing. But it told it so damn well. It had so many spots. You had this one spot where Macho King, the man who would finish many people off with a singular flying elbow, he would hit 5 flying elbows onto the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior would still kick out. It was just a spectacle like rare matches are. Like, There's not many that can create this kind of spectacle, this kind of really great match that felt big, like a real passing of the torch moment. I know that maybe the Ultimate Warrior didn't pan out so great or whatever, but still, this was a true passing of the torch moment. Warrior would then win with multiple spears, and he would pin Randy in the most disrespectful way ever. However, that's not where the match would end. Warrior would leave the ring, and Sherry and Randy Savage would be left in there, with Sherry turning on Randy Savage, and Elizabeth, the woman he's been apart from for 3 years on screen, I think, or at least 2, she would come in for the save. She would help him. No matter what Randy Savage has gone through, their love has never wavered. And after so many years spent apart from each other, they would embrace in one big hug.
Stretch. Tears flowing down, yeah!
I find it really hard to explain any of this, so please go watch this match, watch the aftermath. If you don't want to watch the rest of it, it was just such a great moment. And also, yeah, Randy Savage actually did retire for a little bit at this time. People back then didn't know that it was just a temporary retirement to work on his marriage. At least that's what the reasons he gave us. But like, people didn't know that. This really must have felt humongous, really huge, especially since Randy Savage returned as a commentator later on. So people believe like, yeah, he's done in ring. He's done. So yeah, it's really interesting and really fun to see how things turned out, and just really fun watching back and thinking like, what did the people feel during all of this? It's kind of insane. Randy also really wanted to put Warrior over, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's your last match. Put the guy who is building towards something over. Put the guy who could carry this company over. And although, again, Warrior is a complicated story on its own, it's really interesting and really heartwarming to see all of this. Demolition versus Genichiro Tenryu and Koji Kitao would be up next, and Tenryu would win with a powerbomb. Big Boss Man versus Mr. Perfect would be in their bout for the Intercontinental Championship, and Andre the Giant would actually come in to help Big Boss Man by taking care of the Weasel, Brain, Bobby Heenan. And that belt, it just looks so damn small in the hands of Andre the Giant. It's actually kind of insane. Like when he took it, I was like, is that like a miniature version or something? It isn't. That's the real belt. It just Andre's just so damn big. However, even with Andre the Giant's help, Big Boss Man would not win this belt. He would win the match, not the belt, because Haku and the Barbarian would come in to interfere. Earthquake versus Greg Valentine would be up next, and Earthquake was pretty dominant, eh? Legion of Doom, aka the Road Warriors, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, if not the greatest tag team of all time, would then be up next versus Power and Glory, and shit, that was quick. What a rush! Virgil with Roddy Piper would then be up against Ted DiBiase, his former employer, I guess? I'm not really sure what their dynamic was. I think Virgil was paid by Ted DiBiase to do anything for him, I guess, in the past. And Ted DiBiase would actually win by getting counted out. Again, like, this man just never wins, like, super clean, I guess. Piper would then try to help, but Sherry, Queen Sherry, who had just betrayed Macho Man, would actually align herself with the $1 Million Man. Really fun stuff. Then our penultimate match would be the Mountie versus Tito Santana, and I looked down and the match was done. There's so many quick matches on this card. And then for the main event, we have Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter for the WWF Championship, and this didn't age well at all. It was way too long. Neither of them were all that too great in the ring, especially Hogan in the 90s, I guess early 90s. He just wasn't as good, he was losing a step, and Sergeant Slaughter is not like a wrestling masterpiece in and of himself either. And yeah, the whole thing with the Iraq versus USA just kind of aged really poorly. It's really dated, but the crowd at the time enjoyed it, so I mean, they got their money's worth. Just looking through modern lens, it's not a great match, it's not a great story, it's not great anything. And also the spot where Hulk Hogan wins and then parades around with the USA flag, that kind of seems cheesy. But hey, let me know what you think.